Hey guys, Sir Gerard here. So in our 8th video today, I'll be talking to you about marking your demand zone. So it's something that is quite basic, but I would like to show you in detail on how to mark your demand zone, especially after looking at engulfing buy to engulfing buy. Once these two steps are done, today in this video I'm going to be sharing with you how to mark your demand zone. Alright, so over here, as you can see, is a basic setup of a structure of an engulfing buy that happened over here, and then there was a breakout that happened over here. There was a pullback that came back all the way into the box, and then price created another engulfing buy as a confirmation, right? So we have our first engulfing number 1 over here, and we have our second engulfing number two over here. So the question is, how are we supposed to mark our demand zone, right? So today I'll be sharing with you how. Over here we have the low of the first engulfing number 1. This is going to be the low, right? So this low, and what we have is the opening of engulfing number 2. So this is the engulfing number 2. The two important things that you guys need to know: first is the low of engulfing number 1. Second is the opening of engulfing number 2, which is this zone. So how do we combine these zones for you to mark it on the charts? Simple. So let's read this. Once you have gotten a zone above, mark the low of the bearish candle, which is this is the bearish candle. Mark the low with a line, and the opening of engulfing number 2. So what we're going to do right now is that we're going to mark two lines. The first line that we're going to mark is, let's use a red color, maybe a blue, or maybe a green. So this is going to be the low. So you're just going to make a line like this. Okay? And the next line that we're going to do is from the opening of engulfing number 2. So from this moment all the way up. So what we have right now is a zone that looks like this. This is the zone all the way. Alright? So when price actually makes a pullback into the zone, we can say that price has entered our demand zone. So later in the charts, I'm going to show you an example which you can do your homework, and you can definitely find more demand zones in the charts. Right? So let's go to the second one. So which time frame is this valid for? So what I use personally is weekly, daily, and also H4. So do not be looking at this demand zone based on M1 or even M5. It's too small of a time frame. So only focus on weekly, H4, and daily. These are the 3 time frames that you guys need to focus on. So right now, let's practice drawing the demand zone again. So I'm going to give you some time for you to look at this diagram and for you to understand how do we identify our demand zone, right? So is that enough time, or you guys need more time? Too bad. Let's start. So the first zone, remember what I've said earlier. We're going to take the low of the bearish candle. Remember? This candle. So the low is over here, right? So we're going to draw a line all the way straight. And this line is going to be at the opening of engulfing number 2. So this would be our demand zone for whatever time frame. If it's weekly, this is a weekly demand. Oh, that's a weird arrow. Weekly demand zone. Alright, so that's how it is going to be, and let's get into the charts. Hey guys, so let's get into it. I would like to share with you guys how are we supposed to mark demand zones only from the weekly time frame. So let's start backtesting from these zones below, right? So the first thing that we need to be looking at is obviously an engulfing buy from the weekly time frame. So over here we have found that our first engulfing buy, it comes from this red and green candle over here, and price has did a breakout, and now it has done a pullback into the zone, And what he has done is creating an engulfing buy or even a bullish engulfing in the same zone. So remember what I've taught earlier. How are we supposed to mark a zone based on two engulfing buys? This is the way to find a demand zone. So when we have found the low of the bearish engulfing, we're just going to put a line, and we're going to put a line on the opening of engulfing number 2. So this is it. It's going to be this engulfing, which is our second engulfing. As you can see, we have made the zone smaller, and this is going to be our demand weekly zone. I'm going to mark it like this. So as you can see, price came back to retest the zone, price came back to retest again the zone, left a shadow, and flew all the way up after. So this is from the weekly time frame. Let's start looking at the smaller time frame. But before that, this is for the buy, and let's go to the daily time frame if we can find any buying demand zone for the daily time frame. So the first daily time frame that I can see is, I'm looking at the engulfing buy for the daily point of view. So I'm going to mark this as a blue candle, and I'm just going to make it a zone like this. As soon as price comes back into my zone, I'm expecting it to create another bullish engulfing, which it did. So we have this as our second bullish engulfing. So remember what I did earlier. Put a line on the low of the engulfing 1, and then we're going to put another line on the opening of engulfing number 2. So we have a zone that is smaller, which is more precise as well. So as you can see, price rejected right into our blue zone, which is what we're going to call as our demand zone for daily, right? So this is it for the daily time frame. You can also use this in the H4 time frame. So let's start looking at the H4 time frame. First, remember, what do you need to look for? Look for engulfing buy. So as we have found the first engulfing buy zone, I'm going to mark this as a purple zone due to it being a H4 zone. Second, we have found that it creates another engulfing buy in the zone, which means that we have found an engulfing number 1 meets engulfing number 2. So remember, we're going to make the zone smaller. We're going to mark this, the low of the first engulfing, and the opening of engulfing number 2. So as you can see, we have made the zone smaller again, and we're going to mark this as the demand zone for H4, right? So this is it, and I hope this helps. Make sure you guys practice this and apply this in your charts. All right, thank you guys for watching.